Wow, I feel great. Thank you. So, welcome. The healing power of orgasm. That's quite a big title. I could talk about orgasm for increased exercise. I could talk about orgasm for greater circulation and blood flow and relaxation and stress relief and oxytocin and endorphins and better sleep and boosting your immune system. But I'm going to talk about something else, because all of those are amazing benefits, but I believe there's something else going on. In 2015, I was diagnosed with advanced melanoma, which is a severe skin cancer, and I was found to have a substantial tumour in my brain and my lung and my lymph node, and I was told that it was terminal, and I was sent home to spend time with my friends and family and to move to a ground floor flat because I probably wouldn't be able to make the stairs for much longer. And I had hospice staff visiting me, and I had a daily visit from district nurses. And I was very incredibly lucky to have a lot of very supportive friends, a lot of who are in this room, so thank you very much. And I remember feeling okay during that time in hospital when I didn't really have a diagnosis. I just felt okay, a bit confused, but I didn't know what was going on until they told me that it was advanced melanoma, terminal, and go home. That's the point where I started to really feel disease in my body. Nothing had changed. There was just a new piece of information that suddenly my body was contracting against. And I recognised that that wasn't going to be the place that was going to help me to heal from. And I thought to myself, this doesn't feel good in my system, and I'm going to try everything I can to fill my body with joy. And what I remembered, I saw a funny little clip on Facebook by a Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto. And he talks about, or he takes water particles, frozen water particles, and he puts some into positive environments with loving words and affirmations and chants. And he takes some and he puts them into negative environments with swearing, shouting, abusive language. And the change underneath a microscope of these two different types of water on a cellular level, the positive water cells turns into the most beautiful, extremely beautiful imagery. And the ones that have been in an abusive situation turn and mutate into something that you don't want into our body. And they do similar experiments with plants in schools, I've seen as well. Two of the same plants in the same environment, and the children are encouraged to bully one plant and then to love another plant and see how one wilts and one flourishes. People have also done this experiment with rice. And all of these things have a very high water content. And actually our bodies have an incredibly high water content. If my body is 70% water and my cells are about 80% water, I know that I wanted beautiful water in my body, because actually cancer is just a cell which has mutated. So my journey was, how do I fill every single part of my body, every single cell, with ultimate joy? Yeah, I did hula hooping, of course I did. I wore amazing shoes to all of my different doctor's appointments. I wore sequined ball gowns for my treatment. And I had a great supportive group of friends. But what I actually noticed was what filled me the most with joy was orgasm. So I was going to do a hell of a lot more of that. And there's sexual kung fu was created by Chinese medicine, basically, to keep our body in health. And what that is it's a Taoist or Tantric and Sufi tradition of separating ejaculation from orgasm. And a lot of men kind of know of this maybe, but what I was trying to do was the female equivalent, okay? So this is my very kind of baseline understanding of how it was in my body. So men, it's obvious when they ejaculate, women, less so. But what I learned was that my peak orgasm was when I was working on my clitoris. Most women will probably recognise the clitoris orgasm probably easier than the other kinds of orgasms that we can have. And I recognised that actually when I was in my peak orgasmic experience, my clitoris orgasm, what would happen is I would go from 0 to 10, probably quite quickly, and at 10, there would be my crash. I call this the pleasure scale. And when I'm coaching people, I talk quite a lot about the pleasure scale. So 0 being that place where you're just normal, neutral. You can all maybe judge in your body where you are right now. I'm probably at a 1, low-level sexiness. And how, when we're on our journey with sex, whether that's self-sexing or with our partner, we kind of want to strive to 10, which is our orgasmic experience. For me, 8 is kind of that point of no return, okay? So it's a good thing to remember. Where is my 8 when you're next pleasuring yourself or with your partner? So our peak experience, 0 to 10 as quickly as possible, with that release. For men, that can be with ejaculation. For women, that's generally just a clitoris orgasm, and then drops off. And that's maybe when we want to go for a nap, or our energy is lost because it's been released. But actually, the sexual kung fu belief is that if we keep that energy in our body, that it's healing life force. Remember, orgasm is at the end of the day where life comes from. And to me, what is the opposite of cancer? So cancer was, I wrote a list, death, disease, pain, suffering, and at very best, survival. And what the opposite of that was for me was orgasm. So for me, I try to practice something that I call energy orgasms or expanded full body orgasms. So that is riding the pleasure scale as slowly as possible, hanging out in low level arousal such as 3 and 4, hanging out in 5 and seeing how long we can stay there. So instead of reaching up to that peak and that release, we build, and then we take our time at 5, maybe dropping down to 4, maybe 6, back to 4. And instead of an orgasm that shoots up and crashes, we have an orgasm that can last for days. I believe at one point I was on the phone to Alison Pillin walking down the street, and she asked me how I was, and I said, Alison, if I trip up this curb, I'm going to orgasm. So I had a lot of friends that I recruited on this journey. Thank you. I asked past lovers. And again, I was also self-sexing as well. So it was really actually having sexual interaction with the intention of healing my body. Some people might have thought I was a bit crackpot, but hey, I've got this new thing I want to try, and I want to really try and stay in an orgasmic bliss state for as long as possible. No, please don't try to make me orgasm. And I think that healing with intention is such a powerful experience to fill my body with joy. And if it wasn't going to work, I was going to die pretty happy. 6 months after getting my diagnosis, yes, I tried a lot of other things, and I'd also been offered treatment, and I was told that treatment, the best thing that would happen would I would be stable, but it would take a long time for me to get stable because it was offered ultimately as palliative care. And 6 months after diagnosis, I walked into the doctor's office to hear them say, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And I had clear scans. So I just want to remind people that actually orgasm is a celebration of life. It's not something that has to be rushed through or rushed to. And that ultimately, maybe having a little bit of a look at all of our areas of life and how can we celebrate a little bit more. And for me, that's learning how to tolerate more pleasure in all areas of our life, as well as the bedroom. I think that's me. Thank you very much.